Today we're going to talk about one of the most unexpected changes you can make in your life in order for you to start have life operate for you, not to you, but also create a life of deep meaning and purpose. You know, that kind of life that you wake up every day very giggly about, you look forward to your day, and when you go to bed you feel that you can't wait until the next day, you know, because you're having such a great life. You know, that type of life where you actually don't have meetings at 8 o'clock because that doesn't work for your energetic nature. The biggest change you need to do is to start living your life by standards and having a set of standards for yourself that is connected to your higher goal, your higher purpose in life, and connected to how you want to have a better quality to life. If we back a little bit before we talk about how important this is for you to really live a life of your dreams, we want to discuss first and foremost standards versus expectations. So standards is a set of rules, criteria that you have in your life that you set based on your authenticity, based on how you want to live life and how you believe that you can live a life of more. You have life operating for you in a certain type of way that bring deep meaning and purpose. The difference between that and expectations is set upon inauthenticity according to me, and is also set according to the belief of that the world and people around you need to change in order for you to be happy. So when you have certain expectations, you actually set up expectations that a person should behave in a certain type of way or treat you in a certain type of way, or a situation should be in a certain type of way in order for you to really have the fullest experience of that. That is disempowering, and that is also not how I at least want to set up my life. I want to set up my life that I about here living my life, and those people that are a match to that kind of energy will be in my life as well. If I have a certain expectations of people that actually don't have that quality or don't treat you in that way because they are not like, that's not their nature, so to say, or that is not what they stepped into, or that is not what they growed into, you are not helping them to become authentic. You're helping them to become something else that they don't want, or pushing them into something that they don't want to grow in yet, okay? So having expectations on situations is not up for success. It will just leave you very disappointed about yourself, about life, and about what type of situations that you are in. So now we know when the difference between expectations and standards, we can begin to set our own standards. And standards, I will talk about in this episode actually a little bit about, why, and which I touched a little bit, but also what kind of standards you may want to set for yourself and what we have to think about. And in regards to this, I also want you to, now when you're taking notes out of this video, also think through if this is something that you maybe want to set for yourself in particular areas of your life. If you actually came from the video where I talk about the identity shift to, step into the version of you that are with the love of your life, this is the video where I will be talking about standards, but standards you can use for so much more than your dating life. I have a set of rules of standards, and that have shown how I can really live a life that is of higher quality that I could ever imagine, just because I have things operating in the background for me. So when it comes to standards and what type of standards you want to set for yourself, the first thing I want you to take note on is that you want to look into the 5 main important areas in your life that you think is so important for you, or it's very important for you as of now. So to say, if you have some kind of higher dream goals for yourself. So this might be, for instance, health, or it might be in the category of lifestyle, or family, or relationships, or, the category of your relationship connection with yourself, right? So look through these different type of areas where you really see that you want to expand more into, and where you want to create even more so quality in your life, what's important for you. And in these areas, you want to set different types of standards that actually are correcting you into that lifestyle, or are correcting you into having those habits, or are correcting you into being that person that actually have that type of dream job. Okay, so I want you to think a little bit through, like, what standards can that be? Just to give you some very few examples, I used to be a person that had very difficulties in taking decisions. Decisions is some of the things that I want to be transparent with you, that one of the things that I still is something that I'm being challenged in and that I grow in. But I have seen such a big difference in how I take decisions, in how proud I am about my decisions, and how much easier I can take decision, and how not linger in this kind of time consuming, energetic consuming space of being in between decisions. And here is an area where that has helped me tremendously. So I begin to set different type of standards in my life, so I didn't need to take certain type of decisions over and over, so that that could almost operate for me, and the decisions were taken for me according to what's authentic to me, right? And that was like happening for me. I didn't need to put the mind power into that, so that I could actually step out of it and begin to take bigger decisions and begin to evolve even more and grow even more in other type of decisions. So these were the different type of areas where I saw that, okay, if I, don't need to really think about it, I just like taking decisions and not even thinking about it, what areas can that be? And what areas can that be that is also helping me to improve the quality of my life and living a more purposeful and meaningful life? And then I saw that, okay, for instance, when it comes to food, I really want to become a person that eats healthy air, because I already saw myself as being a person who actually eats very healthy, but I wanted to become a person who eats even more so healthier. And that is because I want to have a lot of focus. The version and the era that I'm stepping into require me to have more focus. It also requires me to have even more so higher energies and clear energies or clean energies. So then I began to set for myself the standards of that I do not eat gluten. So when I tell myself that I do not eat gluten, what happens is that your mind is starting to look for things like errors in regards to those situations, and also for corrections. So that means that when I'm going to a restaurant or planning the meals for the week, if I see recipes that have gluten in it, I automatically pass by them. Or when I'm at a restaurant, very, very seldomly, I told you before, when it comes to naan bread, I still want to eat the naan bread, but very often I actually maybe don't take the naan bread, or I go to other restaurants, or I take other things on the menu that, don't have gluten in it. And this is something that has helped me tremendously, because I don't need to think every single time that, oh, should I take it or not? I feel a little bit for it or not, and then having this stomach pain, and then getting the low in energy, so the next day I feel tired, and the next day I don't feel at my best because of I took that decision. Nowadays I just take that decision automatically. I don't eat gluten, so I make sure that I eat very little gluten. And this is the thing, when you're doing this kind of change and setting these standards for yourself, it's not about being like perfect and 100%, saying to yourself like you will never do this. That might be a goal that you have, but be kind towards yourself. Be kind to the version that you are today, with the belief you are today and the habits that you have today. Be kind and gentle to that. Show that you appreciate and accepting that as well, but also show that here is where I want to go towards, right? So whenever I said that I don't eat gluten, even though I eat gluten once in a while, right, I do know that I eat it very, very seldomly. And I do know that that is kind of the identity that I reach for. Your standards also work as a energetic like boundary saver, or what we can say. This means that if you set yourself up for and decided that I only include people that are very open, or I only include people that are very kind, I only include people that feels very expansive to me into my closest sphere, what will happen is that you will notice when people do not have those qualities. It doesn't mean that they will never have it. That's okay, they can do their growth, but you don't need to be there and kind of open up your space in order for them to come to that space if you don't want to. It all depends on what standards that you set for yourself and what you think is acceptable and not, and so forth, right? But this helps you to almost, once again, the mind sees it as error, just like, okay, no, this is not the persons that you set yourself up for, that you want to spend your energy and your time with. So this is not the person that you maybe should evolve in, so to say. So this has helped me tremendously when it comes to finding new friends in my adulthood, finding different workplaces, finding my love of my life, right? I talked about that in the latest video. So this has really helped me in so many different scenarios where I used to actually cross my own energetic boundaries, but I also used to feel that I'm very tired, I'm very drained, because I was accepting people into my life that didn't bring that energy into my life and that energetic space that I wanted to be in and that I wanted to step into even more, if that makes sense. So now when you set your different standards for your health goals, maybe you set your standards for your goals in becoming confident, in your goals for being more trustworthy to the world, whatever it is, when you set all these certain type of goals that are aligned with the different areas and categories that you have for yourself, you also need to look into your outdated standards. You need to do some refreshments in your old standards. This is because you set a certain type of standards, believe it or not, consciously or subconsciously in the past, that you now need to refresh. Okay, so let's say, for instance, that you were applying for jobs 3 years ago. That version of you 3 years ago maybe saw and looked at themselves and the work market and all of that very differently, or quite different at least, than you do now. So maybe you have evolved into understanding more about your energetics, so you know that you want to have a workplace where you have a hybrid solution, or where you can work from home remotely fully, right? So this is to really feel into and see that what I put for myself and what I have learned now until now, what new standards, what refreshed standards should I have in regards to what type of jobs am I after, or what type of lifestyle choices do I want to make now going forward, and so forth, right? So really look into what are the outdated standards that I might have here for myself. I can tell you that my version 5 years ago had much more disbelief in herself, actually, and didn't really see her value and her worth as she sees today. So today she booked meetings very differently, at very different times that she would do, or else she say no to different opportunities that may look as opportunities for others, but she say no to them nowadays because she know what she's worth. She know what brings her meaning and purpose into her life. It's so much easier when I have a set of standards, because here we come into the very important how you make standards work for you, and so your life can work for you and not to you, is really that you will begin to pick up on things that is out of touch. So I will give you an example. So I was about to book a meeting with a guy for 2 weeks ago or something, and that guy suggested 8 o'clock in the morning. And me, 8 o'clock in the morning is not a standard, because my standard in the mornings is that I always show up and create space for myself first, so that I can show up for myself and then show up for the world. That is a standard I've had for many years now, and it works so great for me. So he was touching on the limit, because I don't remember last time I booked a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning. But listen here now. I have also now entered another area of mine where I have a little bit other type of focus, and I have a little bit other type of goals, and I notice that I need to do, or what I see, I want to do some certain type of adjustments in regards to my life. That doesn't mean that I will ever make adjustments that I will not show up for myself first, but that means that it can sometimes, if it's really, we don't find any other time or something like that, it is okay to maybe book at 8 o'clock in the morning, because I nowadays know that I also have that space until 8 o'clock. The past me who set that boundary did know that she was probably already still sleeping at 8 o'clock, or how difficult it is in getting up at that time. So now when we know the standards that you want to set for yourself, the outdated standards and the standards that you want to renew and refresh, we also need to have a last discussion in regards to how others would react and respond to your standards. So some people may not have the same standards, some people may not understand you in regards to these standards, and it's okay. It's okay to show that we are authentic to ourselves, but still let other people be authentic to themselves. So if you get into some certain type of conflict, so to say, with a person that you feel is very aligned with your life, and you don't necessarily want to cut it off, or like it is a person that you just want to show respect towards, what you can do if a person don't understand you in regards to a certain type of standard is to just quickly explain a little bit, like, okay, right now I may see this, I do this often actually, because I may see quite annoying when it comes to deciding for a restaurant, and I make sure that other people know. I say that this might seem a little bit annoying, and I would love to have a world where all the menus were vegetarian, gluten-free, and no lactose or something like that. Like, that would be my dream land. But now, unfortunately, not all restaurants look like that, and I do not feel great when I'm eating these certain types of foods. So that's why it takes a little bit longer time maybe to find that restaurant, or that's maybe why I say no to a couple of restaurants. But if we can find something that works for both of us, in those situations where it feels like people are a little bit like, oh, can't we just like pick a restaurant now or whatever, then I just remind them of that, why it's important for me. Like, you can always find different ways how you can let it work out together, but it's just like important for you to also have a little bit understanding for that other people might not get you, and it's okay. But you don't need to break your own boundaries, so to say, but it's okay for you to also explain and show that you understand from their point of view that it might seem a little bit off, or it might seem a little bit annoying, or whatever it is. I think it's important to talk about that these standards that we set for ourselves can look very day-to-day practical. This is how it looks in your day-to-day. That's why I've been focusing a lot on those standards. But this is also in regards to how you operate from life. If you have a standard and decision that you want to, always listen and tune into your intuition, that is the most important to you, you will begin to do things that show that you are actually living by those standards, right? When you stand between two different type of job offers, you go by your intuition. When you don't know what you should do next, you go by your intuition. You do not go by setting up a strategy or looking for the information directly. Like, if you set a standard for yourself that I want to rely and trust and operate from a state where I actually use my superpower, as my superpower is my intuition, then you will have to also, look through that you do that on the bigger decisions as well as the small decisions in life. So one of the biggest misunderstandings when it comes to setting our standards might also be that you become more complicated, or you feel that you are more picky, or you feel that you are, more difficult to handle. For some people, it might look like that you will be more difficult to handle, but for some people, it will be easier, because it will be easier to spot and see that, wow, this is a person that carry out these values. This is a person who create a life who looks like this, who have this quality to life, who prioritizes her self-love, or who prioritizes her health, so that you can also match with situations, with people, with opportunities that are actually matched to you and your authenticity, right? Does that make sense? Okay, so let me know what standards that you're setting for yourself right now, what areas. I would love to hear about that. I love to also, get some ideas or inspiration for myself in my own life. I hope that this helps to spark your authenticity, but also spark the deeper meaning and purpose that you can create for yourself in your life. If you're interested, I also have my course, The Fulfilled You, open. Keep on listening to your Within Talks, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.